Alright, sorry about the crappy recordings. I record sometimes in the car when I'm moving around. I feel like sometimes the flow comes better that way. Sometimes, it depends, I guess, but sometimes it seems to come across or in more of a flow for me. Alright, so just a thought. I've talked about this before, but sometimes I like talking about it, man, because it's kind of like, why not? Why not share with people? Because sharing actually is really, really cool. Anonymously with people that don't even know me or anything like that is really, really cool. So that small shift thing that happened, which is why I went on Paul Unslaved show, which is why I do my recordings every day, which I talk about no self. I want to make the Man Who Died film. I'm making the short film. I want to make the Man Who Died feature film through a production, because to me the Man Who Died is the ultimate no self, the resurrection of the Christed character who comes back and is repulsed by humanity, is repulsed by man and woman, so, and just a small little story on that. What is it with this channel, or what I talk about, is so interested in that theme, in that idea? Well, just to give a little bit of backstory on it, The Man Who Died, I've always loved The Man Who Died. I've always had a connection with it, to that very premise about getting so fed up of these fucking people, and I include myself in that as well. That always comes back to that. Sick of these people, and sick of myself, and sick of them and myself, right? And to get to a point kind of like where you just have enough. You can't do it anymore. You can't sell and go through this very painful delusion about yourself and about humanity anymore. So that thing that happened to me, with me, I kind of induced it myself in many, many ways, right? Because I knew that something had to shift at some point, right? So kind of like, I was getting so fed up of people. I mean, really fed up of them. And I'm going to go into some other point to do exactly what happened, right? It's to do with one of the hardest pains that a man can put up with, right? And that is when a woman decides to take him down, who he actually cares for. All right, and I knew that was coming for me even before it came. I told the being that it was coming for me, but I knew that this being couldn't hear anything, right? So I knew I was on my own anyway, and I knew I had to go through a hell of a lot, and I welcomed it, made it worse, welcomed it, because I was gonna have to go through it anyway. It was my fault. I made a mistake, right? So kind of like, so I knew after this I knew that I didn't want anything to do with humanity anymore. Nothing. And I mean nothing, dude. Like, zero. Why the fuck would I want anything to do with humanity anymore? I had enough of them. Had enough of the lies. Had enough of the bullshit. Had enough of all of it. All the crap, all the nonsense. And I knew that kind of like, I don't want to go through anything because of them anymore. I don't want to care for them anymore. I don't want anything to do with myself anymore. I certainly don't want anything to do with humanity anymore, people anymore, myself anymore. They just make me fucking puke. Alright, so I can relate, very, very much I can relate to The Man Who Died's reverence towards the rooster, towards the animals, towards the rooster. Because just to stay away from these horrifically disgusting human beings, and just like, I don't want fuck all to do with you anymore, man. No way am I gonna care for you anymore. No way am I gonna put myself out there for you anymore. No way am I gonna do any of that. Any of it. I had enough. Too much pain, too much suffering, too much delusions inside my own system. I was just like, fuck these people, dude. So I trained and I practiced, and I was just like, I don't want nothing to do with human beings. I may have to have something to do with them on the outside, right? Yes, I may have to have something to do with them on the outside, all right? But to have something to do with them, in a way that was kind of like, internally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, wanting anything to do with them, putting my trust in them, anything in them at all, nothing, anything, zero, was just like, it has to come to a point where I have nothing to do with them. I can't stand them. I can't, they're repulsive, they're disgraceful, they're disgusting, they're traitorous, they're absolutely the trickery that human beings have. And what I understood was that the people that you care for are the ones that hate you the most, the ones that you do things for. That's what was so painful. The ones that you looked out for the most, the ones that you cared for the most, were the ones that despised you and hated you. And I was like, I've had enough of this, dude. I've had enough of it. And I had faith in the Creator that He would take it from me, that He would take this burden of humanity away from me, including my own. And something began to happen. I wanted nothing to do with human beings. Nothing. Zero. They were absolutely repulsive to me. And it happened. And I thought, wow, man, I'm not going to have anything to do with human beings again. And a weird thing happened because of it. I understood the difference between caring for people and having a care in your heart for them. Two separate things, two completely different separate things. They're completely different. I didn't realize that, because there's this false care bullshit for people because you're insecure, and then there's having a care in your heart. Having a care in your heart is for everyone. Even if I'm talking to people I don't like policy enforcement, when they're robbing people and stuff like that, it's still there. I understood what the Christed being was talking about. I just understood it because I wanted nothing to do with humanity anymore at all. Nothing at all. Zero. Right? And because of that originated. A care in my heart originated. That's why I was led to the Paul Unslaved show. Right? So I understood that dynamic. It didn't come from me. Right? So I don't care for humanity at all. Still don't want anything to do with them. Nothing, because when you're broken down by something the way I was broken down by, and what I had to go through for over a year, right? I was just like, I'm never gonna put my trust and faith in humanity, women again, anything like that. Nothing. I've had enough. I'm out, like Paul would say, right? Same, because it's all the same thing, right? I was kind of like, no, I'm out. Had enough. And I thought that I would have hated human beings. And I realized that actually before I didn't like them. Really didn't like them. I was only pretending the same as everybody else. And like I said, there's a very big difference between people that claim to care for other people. That's why I'm so hard on this thing of kind of like, if people are open to learn about it and go like, people don't care for you. You're goddamn right they don't care for you. You better care for yourself in the right way. They don't give a fuck about you. That husband doesn't give a fuck about you. All right? That girlfriend doesn't give a flying fuck about you. They don't give a flying fuck about you. All right? Now, you can have a care in your heart for everyone, but they don't care about you. They're only using you, and then they'll take you down later on. They'll take you down later on because they won't get what they want out of you in that way, using you, and then they'll try and take you down and try and cause pain for you in order to drain you of energy another way. You better listen. This is what's going on. You're going to save yourself a lot of bullshit, and maybe you have to go through it, I don't know. But a care in your heart is completely different. It's completely different from caring for people individually. All right? It doesn't originate from you. It cannot originate from you. All right, so I wanted nothing to do with humanity, like the man who died. So it's all very much connected. That's why I want to make the film. That's why I'm making the short film. And I'll go into the other part at some other point, whether people want to hear about it or not. It's not really that interesting to me right now, but it was the catalyst for it though. And I knew that, and many other things even before that. I had enough. And when you had enough, sometimes you understand, something comes to you and then you understand something. And I'm glad all that stuff happened. Like I said, I've never been with anyone that I haven't benefited from, because I always knew that I was to do the internal. It was never to do with the external. It was always the internal parts. All right. So they may have won on the outside, or seemingly think that they won on the outside, but they never really did, because you can't win that way. The creator will always take you down, always, right? So there's a little bit of a backstory. I think it's a very interesting story, you know, because there's a very big difference between the way I am right now, being basically dead to this world and to people, and having a care in my heart for them, but not wanting anything to do with them at all. I yield.